All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Green White Checker TV, where tonight we have the Area 51 IndyCar Series here tonight at Watkins, Glen. Drivers just now going out to put their qualifying laps in, and I may have jumped the gun a little bit early because we've got 10 minutes of qualifying, so we're going to have a little bit of extra time to chat about some stuff tonight as drivers make those qualifying laps. However, it will be 70 laps race distance here this evening. And of course, the other thing to mention is that with it being a road course, there will not be any cautions. And you can see a lot of extra sections on the going to be used this evening. So you can see there on the left side, that's the boot down towards the bottom left. You see one of those cars heading down that backstretch into the second to last turn. And so, yeah, so basically this is Watkins Glen Classic. So about the most oval version of this track as you can get. And so right now these drivers heading into the last kind of heading the section, they'll go into turn one through the S's down the back stretch, which will not include the bus stop, which you see there at the bottom right of your screen. And then they'll make the turn through the carousel to head back 180 through the straightaway that we just saw to your kind of briefly there a moment ago. And then they'll make those final two turns there, the left and the right, back to the start finish line. So it's going to be pretty quick laps right now. And this is going to be a whole different ball game now because, again, with the ovals, they have lots of tools. They have the weight jacker, they have the ARBs, and so now they switch it up a little bit. So weight jacker gone for the road course, but we're going to be adding push to pass in its place. Every driver will have 200 seconds of push to pass to use at their discretion. So you got to be smart about when to use it and when to try to hold on to it, maybe for the closing stages of the race. So that'll be a lot of fun to see what the strategies are going to be on that. And then, of course, the other thing to mention is there will be 2 tire compounds this evening as well. You're going to have the alternate red tires, which are the softer, grippier tires, but will burn off sooner. And then you're going to have the primary black sidewall tires, which are more of the race tires. So they won't be as grippy initially, but they should hold a more consistent lap time throughout the stint. So qualifying right now, it's all reds. Everybody's going for the grippy tire, which, again, makes 100% sense because you're going for 2 laps. You don't need a lot of extra time to do that. And actually, it looks like he's giving them 4 laps of qualifying. So they'll actually have a couple attempts to be able to put some laps down here. So what we will do is let's try to find someone to spy on. And I warned him pre-race that I might hop on board with him. So we're going to jump on here with Eric Schaus as he is, I believe, going to start his second or third lap here as he's going to head down the start-finish straight here. Again, no push to pass in qualifying. But what you're going to do is you're going to see him send it off here into turn number 1. Drops down to about 3rd gear. Has to throttle up here. Can't go too far over there. And actually, he's going to abort the lap. Maybe he's going to jump back out and try to do one more. We'll hop on. And yeah, so sure enough, here he goes. He's going to jump back in. And again, that's the bonus of having that extra time. So what he's going to do now is he's going to get this warm-up lap underway. And so we'll see if he goes at full speed or if he's going to kind of back it down a little bit. And so basically this is going up the S's. This will be easily flat foot for these cars through here. And then as they come up to the straightaway here before the bus stop, again, won't be using the bus stop. You can see kind of weaving a little bit, trying to build some temperatures in those tires. That way they are nice and warm. And for him, he'll see on that bottom right, you see that those blue squares right now showing 200 on the fronts, 210s on the rears. That's tire temperature. We won't see what it actually is, but he will obviously. And so, yeah, it's something we'll keep an eye on. And I'll also mention a few of the locations where you can get an off-track or possibly even a slowdown penalty through iRacing. But we'll watch here as he's going to build up now for his final flyer lap. As he's going to come through the last turn there, used a little bit of curb. Now he heads down the front stretch here for the final time to make his lap. And he's going to send it off here into turn number 1. Again, I mentioned 3rd gear. So he's going to bring it down a lot of curb on the entry, but you can see now he keeps it underneath the curb. That is one of those spots that is going to have an off track should you go over those curbings. Then same thing again, flat through here, as little wheel put as possible. And then you have a huge head of steam here down the back stretch. And pretty much you'll see there's going to be like a little crest as it dives down into the carousel. That's where they start to stomp on the brakes. And you'll see it drop right there. And that's when he starts to bring down the speed here as he heads into that carousel that I mentioned. This turn you can widen out like you see right there. He can take it all the way out to that outside wall should he choose to. There is no off tracks over there as he heads into that second to last turn. A lot of curb again, just using just the amount of curb he's allowed to through that turn, and then comes through here and Oh, catches the wall there on the exit there. That's going to throw that lap away, unfortunately, for Eric. So that's going to be his laps tonight, unfortunately. And so that's, again, that's how tough it is at this place. So he was trying to give everything he could, unfortunately, just a little too hot. And so that's going to put him into that wall. And so right now, whatever time he set, that's where he's going to wind up, pending other drivers able to jump ahead of him. As right now looking to see, and we've got about 17 of the drivers that have put a lap in as of the moment. Looking to see who else is on track, and I do see we have last week's winner, Chris Jabot. We'll jump over to him in that 87 car as he's making his way up and around. I believe he is on his final flyer lap, and again, really exciting for him. First win in the series. Really close nail biter finish. You even saw the contact, a little bit of an incidental bump actually wind up being the thing to propel him to the win. So yeah, so a lot of fun there. And you can see right there just a little bobble on the entry, and you can see, yeah, same thing, just too tight. And so yeah, so he's same thing, has to abort his lap as well. So that's how difficult it is here at this track. He's just gonna go ahead and ride off the car and then some, and hopefully nobody has motion sickness, and he's going to laugh when he finds out that that's on the broadcast. And there's, unfortunately, what's left of his car there. So that was Chris's last attempt there as well. Like I said, I think those guys, like I said, it's 4 laps they're being given, so they are going for absolutely everything to see if they can. It's one of those things like last ditch ever, like, well, let me get everything I can, see if I can make something happen. And so, again, with this being a simulation, you can get away with things like that. Obviously, in real life, you won't see things of that nature. But yeah, so, and then we might also see some other things. I was just looking right there. I just saw the 00 of Sam Cosner. He actually went ahead and did a pit road entry practice. I'm going to jump back over to Daniel Durazo. I think he's still maybe on a lap. And yeah, here he comes out of the last turn. And I believe this is completing his last lap, if I'm not mistaken. But again, though, should he choose to, he can run all the way through, and then he can go ahead and do a pit road entry. Oh, big bobble there for him. Again, great practice. We'll watch Matt Wagner as well. I'm not sure if he's on a hot lap or not. And he comes out of that last turn, and looks like it is going to stay for Matt as well. And I think, waiting for timing to update. Yeah, I'm not. This might actually be a flyer lap for that number 6 car. So we'll keep an eye. I'll watch him now from the TV view here. As again, he's going to build his speed up through the S's and then down that back straightaway into the carousel. And then again, we talked about just, you'll see where these guys start to jump down to, into that. I believe it's going to be around 4th gear, if I'm not mistaken, for the carousel. And you'll see right there, you can kind of see the drop that you hit. And pretty much it seems like right as you hit that drop, that's when the drivers start to slow down. And also, again, mentioning, you can see the red sidewall tires on the side of that number 6 car. Again, that's the softer alternate tires, which drivers will have to use both sets of. So we'll see at least one stint with these drivers on the reds, and then also, of course, the black sidewall primary tires. So those will things that be things to keep an eye on as Matt's going to come across the line. And that was a hot lap there. That did count, and I'm not going to spoil where he qualified, because that's what we're going to be doing here shortly once we get over to our qualifying, to our grid here after qualifying. So yeah, so I believe everybody that's wanted to put a lap in has. 17 of the 20 drivers. Looks like we're going to have 3 opting not to put a qualifying lap in. And I can tell you it is about 0.02 of a second between first and second, with a 54.92 and a 54.94. So sub 55 second laps for the top 2 drivers here. And then another 0.02 back between third and fourth. It's the same thing as 17 to a 19. So about 0.2 quicker for first and second over third. So really good laps for those 2 guys. And do need to mention, of course, this is race number 6 of the season. I'm going to go ahead and pull up our schedule here to make sure, kind of let you know what's coming up next after tonight. It looks like we'll actually have an off week after this week, and then we'll be back at Auto Club on August 19th, and then from Auto Club over to Milwaukee Mile on the 26th, and then it'll be another off week, and then Motegi September 16th. And Matt Andrews on his way. He's going to hop in here shortly. he's got to get all of his road course stuff set up, and then he'll be in here shortly. And and Rachel, first off, I'm so happy to see you. I hope you're doing very, very well. And no, race is not halfway over. I apologize if I'm getting him in trouble for that. So, but that said, I'm really excited to see you. Hope you are doing well, and congratulations on another little one on the way, and hope you are doing very, very well. All right, before I get anybody else in any more trouble here, let's go ahead and pull up our starting grid for tonight's event. As our pole sitter tonight is going to be on the front row. It's going to be that number 6 machine of Matt Wagner, able to get the pole there over Craig Forsyth by 22 hundredths of a second. Then you've got Chris Stouffer there, Eric Schaus 3rd and 4th, Wayne Campbell, Larry Yingling there, row 3, Eric Peterson, Sam Cosner 7th and 8th, Gary Laverne, Ryan Kelly rounding out our top 10 in 9th and 10th. Then you got Chris Jabot, Edson Santos there, 11th and 12th. Continuing down the field, then you got Hugo Glaz in 13th, Nick Cohan 14th, Daniel Durazo, Bill Burrell's 15th, 16th, Nicholas Stockner there, 17th, and then the 3 drivers opting not to put a time in tonight will be Shane Coker, Frank Irwin Jr., and Joseph Morales. Those will be our top 20 drivers for this evening. Like I mentioned, we'll have an Andrew Wood here shortly, and then we'll get things. Let's say we'll be able to get his great expertise as well. But right now, everybody's starting to get lined up here. You see Craig on the grid, waiting for Matt Wagner. There's Matt on the grid, and that's everybody here. So they're about to get this warm-up lap underway. Again, it is a full warm-up lap, and then now we're going to be spying on tires. And the other fun part is when we're on, we can ride on board. We can see when they're using their push to passes. I apologize. So we'll be watching that as well. And right now, looking through the field, I do not see any red sidewall tires. So I believe everybody's going for the primary blacks on this opening stint. So interesting to see nobody's gambled here on this opening stint on trying those red tires. So maybe they're thinking go long here to start and then try to put those reds on at some point later in the run. So going to be very, very interesting to see. So I'll be really interested to see how this one's going to shake out. Of course, also got to see how the initial start's going to go on this one. First road course of the season. So we'll see how they're going to manage that when you see Matt already rolling out a little bit off the back to build that gap off the pace car. Yes, I say for it being a road course, I'm guessing there's probably a little bit of extra practice involved as well. So I do have some familiarity. I believe Eric is definitely one that kind of can excel on the road course side of things. So probably try to steal a little extra time and effort on that one as well. So so you got a full grown Rugrat, you've got a little Rugrat, and then the future Rugrat on the way. So like I said, very, very happy for you guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I say then at some point your Rugrat turns 11 and knows everything more than you. So good luck when you get to that point, Rachel. Keep them little is all I got to say. All right, so the field is coming through now. This is one of the back stretches. I'm not sure which one we're going to be calling what, but this is coming out of the carousel into the last 2 turns of the speedway. And I believe this is coming up to turn number 6. So basically, turn 1, the first right-hander, and then you've got 2, 3, 4 through the S's. Turn 5, the carousel. 6 right here that they're in now. And then turn 7, that final right-hander that leads on to the front stretch. So again, Matt is our control car. So now it's up to Matt when he wants to go. And again, so I'm not sure. And yep, here he goes down and away. He's going to lead things off as we are going to get the green here coming out of turn number 7. As Matt's going to take the green, and you look at the moves already there. You see Schaus there peeking to the inside. He's going to see if he can make a move on Stouffer. Will it stick? Oh, just barely sticks. Move Schaus up into that 3rd spot now. Looking a little further back. So far, so good. Don't see any cars facing the wrong way. Looks like everybody's got front wings on their cars. So, close there between Stockner and Burrell. And right now, Burrell's going to hang on to it, but we'll jump back up front because this is a big drafting spot of the race. And so far, looks like no dramas for these guys. Also, nobody's using the button yet. Everybody's trying to be kind of spare the push to pass here as we speak. And then I think I've spied somebody pop in the chat just as we're heading to finish up to lap number 1, going into lap number 2.
Good to be with you, Gael. It's had a little bit of a week break there, and it's good to be back here commentating with you again. It looks like I came just in time for some action on the first lap here.
You came at the perfect time, and saying I was thrown off a little bit. They had 4 laps of qualifying. They had 10 minutes to do it all, and now I'm seeing things light up green, and we're going to hop on board and show you there is that push-to-pass button there. Matt Wagner using it a little bit up the backstretch, now shuts it off. This is a big one to me, Andrew, because it used to be you had 10 total pushes, or maybe 20 pushes, but it was basically use it or lose it. Now you have control. Do you want to use 5 seconds? Do you want to use 10 seconds? Do you want to run the whole backstretch possibly? So there's a lot of choices in that situation. You could see there Matt trying to break away from Craig. Now you got a great move. Stouffer and Schaus trying to return the favor. Oh, both drivers run very wide there. That's one of those turns, though. There is off limits there. Oh man, Stouffer and Schaus are going tooth and nail here as they get back into turn number 1.
Yeah, we're definitely in kind of a unique situation here, racing on a road course. We're used to these guys turning left, and doing nothing else than turning left. And now these guys are thrown for a whole different scenario with a road course here. And yeah, it looks like it was a pretty orderly start there. It looks like actually I saw Ryan Kelly had a little bit of an issue going into turn 1 on the previous lap. He lost a bunch of spots and almost had some contact with Sam Kaiser, but that looks like it sorted itself out nicely there. And Matt Wagner looks like he has a nice hold on the lead here with Craig Forsyth not so far behind.
So I saw one there catch the wall through the carousel. I think it was Edson, waiting to see how. I saw the car. Oh yeah, that left front wing is definitely damaged. I saw it for a moment. The front wing was also flat, or the front tire was flapping. But at the moment, looks like he's going to be okay. He's going to stay out. I'm going to try to jump back and try to see if we can take a quick look one more time here for Edson. As we'll jump back over to his car. You can see he's already out wide and just, catches that tire wall. And so unfortunately, that's going to definitely be hurting him over the remainder of this race. They do have that one faster pair in play, so that'll be something to keep in mind. But we're jumping back up front here, Andrew, because it is a hornet's nest, these top 4.
Yeah, like Christopher had a really nice run on Forsyth out of turn 1 there, and he not only got Forsyth, but he managed to pass Matt Wagner as well, going down into the carousel there, right past the bus stop. So moves Stouffer to the lead, and that little slight issue he had with Eric Schaus there on the previous lap didn't seem to hurt either car so much, because Schaus is still hanging there in 4th place, and Stouffer's going to lead this lap, it looks like.
Yeah, and the other thing I'm watching is it's going to be the push to passes. I think it's going to be a big thing, because right now, again, you see Craig right on that rear wing of Stouffer, and Craig still got his full 200. Stouffer's already down to 155 seconds, so he's already used 45 seconds of what he was allocated. Matt's only used about 13, so he's got 187 left. Schaus, Campbell have not used any of theirs yet either. So again, it's going to be one of those things where when and where do you want to use it? I was talking to some of the drivers who maybe haven't really run these too much. You see Matt there, he's not even going to fight there for Schaus. He's going to let him go on by. And then, like I said, I think right now there's some strategy at play too, because what I was hearing from the drivers is they can go about 17, 18 laps on fuel. So should be a guaranteed 3-stopper unless something goes wrong. Although I'm going to jump back here because it looks like Frank Irwin Jr.'s had an issue. I'm going to go back, see if we can catch him. So let's go find Frank here. I think, did it already happen? Let's see, I'm trying to jump to Frank. And okay, so here's Frank. He's coming down. So I may be too far forward. We'll speed up a little bit just in case. We don't want to make you guys miss anything. But unfortunately, I said it looks like he did have an incident. And I think it was maybe down after the S's. And I think I probably went too far forward here.
I was going to say we got a little bit of a snake situation going on out front here. So Stouffer is trying to hold on to that lead. And Craig Forsyth, the fuel saver that we know very well here, he's not really going for the lead, but he has quite a big run going down the straightaways here, and he's just kind of hanging back there. So I almost wonder if he's trying to see if he can gain an extra lap of fuel, which will always kind of pay off later on in the race, especially when you're in a situation where you have to be in the box for a second or two longer than the car that you're trying to chase. So Forsyth falls back a little bit. Schaus is kind of hanging in there a little bit in third place, and I wouldn't be surprised if Schaus tries to go for that second place, which would give Forsyth that extra buffer to try and hang behind that car as well.
Yeah, and right now I'm looking to see, and you're right too, and I'm looking at lap times too, and they have started to drop off already. You see an unscheduled pit stop for the 85 car, and yeah, that front wing's definitely got some significant damage. So unfortunately, or actually, I think it's just the paint scheme threw me off, so I'm not sure about the 85 here hitting pit road. See if I can see. Oh, actually, I did see the front wing kind of pop back in. So we'll see if maybe saving the fast pair, just getting a front wing change based on the time. I'm going to say it is just a front wing change for him. So we'll have to wait and see. But right now, like you said, yeah, and the thing is, too, they're bringing friends along now as well, Andrew. Like, I'm looking back there, and we're talking about the top 4 breakaway. Throw Wayne Campbell into the mix. He's starting to creep into this fight, and he looks like trying to bring along their Yingling, Eric Peterson. And then right behind Eric, I mean, they're all right together. So, I mean, we've got really the top. Oh, we got Big Wreck there just as I was panning away there. I think that was Peterson. And then who was bouncing? Laverne. Oh, my goodness. So now they got to hope that he's able to get rolling again and just be able to get somewhere through. And it looks like we're going to get away with it. Peterson does have to tow, unfortunately. But let me go back and take another look at this here. We're going to focus on Laverne here initially. It looks like actually
Peterson got a little bit loose on the curve there, and Laverne had nowhere to go. He tried his best to avoid it, but right into the path of Laverne he goes, and that's unfortunate for those two drivers. That 85 Nick Cohan that you were looking at before, he had some contact as well that brought him into the pits. He had a little bit of a coming together with, I believe that was Ryan Kelly down the back straightaway. So unfortunate for Cohan. Looks like he is still in the pits, so I think that's the end of the race for him.
Yeah, well, we'll have to wait and see. Or it might be one of those things, maybe he didn't have the fast spare checked, and so now it's just he has to wait until it's fixed enough. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, so unfortunately for Peterson too, it's in turn 1, so it's going to be a very long tow. And here's what you're just talking about. Schaus is going to try to take a look on Craig entering the carousel, and Craig is going to try to fight on the outside, and he's going to hang on. And we talked about track limits, and so that turn right there out in the exit of the carousel, Andrew, they can run that as pretty much as wide as they want to and not get an off track or anything. This turn, you do have to stay within the curbing, and in order not to get a 1x or even a slowdown penalty. And the same thing here on the exit of turn 1, you got to keep it kind of within the curbs. Otherwise, same thing, it'll give you a possibly slowdown penalty depending on how far off you go. And so that's why you're going to see most of these guys just try to hug it just on the edge of that curb. And again, with as flat as these cars are, like we just saw, unfortunately, with Peterson, it's very easy to unsettle these cars. We'll jump back to Schaus, though, because he's going after Craig one more time.
So did we talk about the tire strategy, Gail? It looks like everyone started on the black tires, which seems a little strange.
I was very surprised about that as well. I did mention that both sets need to be used, and it's just, it's how do you want to use them? And that's what I'm very intrigued with, was the fact that nobody wanted to try the hard tire, or sorry, the soft tire, the alternate reds. So I'm really intrigued by that. I'm wondering if maybe it's one of those things where it's just use this as long as you can and then throw the reds on for the least amount of time, of course, with them being the more abrasive tire that's going to wear out quicker. And so like for Craig Forsyth, if he can run these two stints a little bit longer than basically you need to run about 18 laps to get it on a 3-stopper. So let's say he can run 19, maybe even 20 on some of these. Maybe then that allows that red stint to be 14 laps, 15 laps, something along those lines to allow him to kind of be able to use the most out of them for a shorter distance.
We're already got laps ticking down here around lap 11 already. So it looks like these guys are just employing that strategy for now. Let's see how long those black tires last. Like you said, 19, 20 laps or so. And I almost wonder if someone's going to do a double black tire strategy and then maybe go to the reds for the end of the race, or throw it kind of right in the middle. Because if you say they're going 20 laps or so, that's going to make this a 3-stop race.
Yes.
Almost essentially that, yeah, if you're only doing the reds for, let's say, 5 or 6 laps before they really go dead on you, you want to run those as little as possible because lap times will be very fast initially, but then kind of drop off at the end.
Yeah, exactly. And right there is a perfect example there for the 87. He ran wide there, I think, honestly, just to probably let Durazo go without taking too many risks. And so basically in iRacing, that's going to count as an off track. And so it'll pop up for the drivers. It'll say 1X, and that's just, again, it's an incident point it's called. However, it does have it set, though, tonight here, Andrew, where it's a 20 incident limit. I think before, if I'm not mistaken, it'll probably be a drive-through. So they have to be cautious about how much they're going to use because obviously if they're burning one a lap, then you're going to have a couple drive-throughs through the course of this race. So right now, yeah, some pretty good movers up towards the front. Ryan Kelly, he's up 4 spots now into that 6th position. You mentioned maybe he had some contact with the 85, who I believe might actually, I think he may have. Yeah, he is. Oh no, he's still in pit road. It looks like Frank Irwin has retired, unfortunately. And then also the one I'm looking actually right now is Daniel Durazo. He is now up 7 spots into the 8th position, and he's already got his sights set on Larry Yingling. And then Ryan Kelly, while we were just looking at that, he's actually now working over Wayne Campbell as well. So yeah, so Ryan's making some good moves here early. Only downside is now he's about 2 seconds off of the next car line, which would be Matt Wagner. So got to be careful about trying to use too much push to pass possibly to close that gap though.
Look at the skies right now, Gael. It's very cloudy here. Almost looks like a tornado is going to roll in. So the temperatures are cooling down. The grip is coming up, and that's probably what these guys need now, especially as these black tires begin to wear off a little bit. So I'm sure these guys are enjoying that little bit of shade, a little bit of cooler temps coming on the track. But as we come into turn 1 and 2 here, it looks like we're actually getting back into some sunlight. So that's going to, yeah, these varying temperatures definitely are going to play into how much grip the cars feel, especially once these tires start to wear out a little bit more. If it's really going to be one of those kinds of high grip or low grip situations.
Yeah, exactly right. And so, like I said, I'm watching a lot of things at the same time. Obviously, we know in the tire situation that everybody's still on the primary hards, but I'm really watching is the push to passes. And the 2 drivers right now that are at the biggest deficit is our leader. Stouffer's down to 135 seconds remaining, so he's already down just barely over 2 minutes left that he can use. And then Daniel Durazo, he's down to 129 seconds remaining, which makes sense though. He's using a lot of, he's got to use a lot of power here to try to pass all these guys when he gets to them. And so yeah, so right now he's down to that 129 mark. And as I said, he's on the button again here. I think that's just probably playing defense, trying to make sure that Larry can't kind of return the favor to him. So now he's still sitting on the button here, and it's like, again, we'll hop on the roll bar, and you can see that light. And now he turns it off here as he gets down towards the bus stop again, which they're not using. And so now he is down to 108 seconds in that number 2 car. So he's got to hope that he builds a gap sooner than later where he can kind of just live off of the gap that he hopefully can pull from these guys.
So the leaders are overtaking Eric Peterson right now, who had that incident earlier on. The first 3 have gotten by, but as we see, Peterson kind of has a little bit of a hard time coming through the last corner. Matt Wagner got held up a little bit there, so he's going to lose touch with that top 3. But
yeah, so this will probably be a watch for the button. I feel like would come on here. No, surprisingly, yep, there it is. Okay, I'll say this is about the time where I said he hadn't used a ton of it, so this is where okay. Let me get on that button, try to see if I can pull back into that draft window.
Kind of fell back a little bit more than he wanted to, I'm sure, there. So that really hurt his momentum and everything coming through the first few corners. He gets by Peterson. Peterson pulls over for Ryan Kelly. So, yeah, the top 3 have sort of pulled out a little bit of a gap there, but it won't be long before Matt Wagner begins to slowly reel them in again, especially if there's a bit of a fuel save going on between behind the leader.
Yeah, a little bit further back here, Bill Burrell working with Edson Santos. Looks like Edson's just got a nose ahead. Again, we saw Edson's issues earlier, but he's still, again, he's going to try to limp this thing along, maybe take that faster pair after or at the first pit stop. Bill, though, however, is up 2 spots from where he started, so you can see he's got no dramas behind him. Joseph Morales is one of those guys that started from the pit, or not from the pit, sorry, didn't qualify, so starting from the back. He's up from 20th into 15th position as well. So I say just kind of a quiet, steady race for him. And again, a lot of the guys, this isn't their bread and butter, Andrew. I mean, this is one of those things where last season was literally, we were calling it the Indy Oval Series because we were just running oval. So this is our first foray into the road side of things. And I do need to mention Shane Coker. He's the first hit road because these laps are clicking quickly here as we're about to click over to lap 18. So this would be potentially one of the first pit stop windows. And yep, here you go. Right on cue, Stouffer is in. And that's coming to lap number 18. Now, how far can Craig and Schaus stretch it? There's Jabot coming in along with them. And it's also a very difficult pit road to get into as well. It's very easy to overshoot that pit commitment line and speed line.
Well, we're on lap 17 now of the pit in, so that's interesting that someone's pitting a little bit earlier than expected. But I guess you could still make it on 3 stops doing it this way. You're just got to run a full lap on the reds, which will be very interesting, especially if the reds kind of die out a little bit fast. So we'll see what kind of tires Stouffer puts on there. Looks like
I think he stayed primaries.
Stayed primaries, yes. I saw that, and Jabot was the same thing. So maybe one of those things where you're trying to save the reds for the end of the race, especially as we're later in the afternoon now. The temperatures will start to cool down, which will favor the red tires more as we get later on in the race.
Oh, here you go. Everybody's coming together. Look at the parking lot here on the entry. And now they got to figure out, I was going to say they're going to have to get organized here because depending where pit stalls are, they got to make sure they're not stepping on each other's toes. So it looks like basically 18 coming to 19 here is where all these drivers are coming in. So now can anybody go any further? Or it might be that one extra lap was all that they could get even with the fuel saving. And so, yeah, sure enough, here's Santos, here's Burrell. And then obviously Stouffer is going to be the first to roll out of pit road. And so he'll try to take over the point of this race here. We'll have to watch as he comes through. As we'll watch out the rear wing and see where's his competition. Look at the gap that he has built from this stop here. As he heads up the S's, Schaus is just getting up the S's. He's going to be probably about a 3-second lead here at once they all get back up to speed. So very, very good in and out there for Stouffer.
I was watching Eric Schaus lead the pits. It looked like he actually got a little bit loose and a little bit squirrely right in front of the leaders there. But no harm, no foul. He continues on. But yeah, Schaus looks like he's managed to come out ahead of Forsyth, which is good. Oh, actually, Schaus made a mistake there. And there goes Forsyth right back again. Yeah, that's a cold tire situation, 100%. So, you really are trying to light up those tires as best you can as you come out of the pits. But every once in a while, you kind of forget that you're on new tires, so that actually hurts a little bit. But it looks like we actually have some takers on the red tires now. Ryan Kelly's on the alternates. We have Bill Burrell on the alternates, and Larry Yingling as well.
Yep. So this is these guys now. This is kind of the all right. I'm gonna just use the reds now, and then I would assume unless they really like them, probably go back to the primary blacks. That will get them to the rules of this where you have to run both compounds. Basically, at this point, we know with it being that's 3-stop race, or 3-stop race. Math is hard. That we know still Stouffer, Schaus, Forsyth, Wagner all will for sure still have to run the reds at some point. So now the question for Ryan is, do you try to just basically use these up and get around these guys and see what you can do? Or maybe, because he's done a great job even to just get in this group. We talked about how many seconds back he was, so really, really good job by him. Actually, Schaus on pit road now. Did we miss something potentially here, Andrew? Maybe an unsafe pit exit. Oh, yeah.
Looks like that might have been a situation where I think when he got squirrely, he might have crossed over that pit exit line, which would give you an unsafe pit exit like you were mentioning.
Let's go back. Let's take a look here. We'll jump back to the last lap here. So we'll see Eric Schaus leaving the pits.
Yeah, it was very benign. It almost looked like it was like the very last second he might have put the left side tires over them.
Oh, yep, right there. I caught it really quickly. I'll back it up one more time just to show. But yeah, you can see it right there, Andrew. Right here, you'll see both left sides. He's almost, I wouldn't say a full car length over or half car length over, but yeah, definitely over the pit exit line. So yeah, so that's going to be that drive-through penalty that he's already served. And so that's unfortunately going to take him way back now all the way to the 12th position. And so now he's just going to have to pretty much just hustle and see what he can gain back. But I got to say right now, again, he's got a good deficit on push-to-passes by about 60 seconds almost, where Craig has that advantage over him. But he's got 3 seconds to work with. I don't know if 60 seconds of push-to-pass would be enough to gain a 3-second margin, just where things are at the moment.
Well, that drive-through definitely hurt any chance that Schaus has at a top finish here. That's a shame because he was running so well up at the front. He had definitely the pace to contend for a podium here today, but these mistakes happen, and especially when you're trying to go for it, especially when you're racing with these top guys, and it's very, very easy to make a small mistake like that would kind of set you back for the top run there. So unfortunately, that's the end of Schaus's race in terms of getting a podium finish.
Yeah, as I was talking to him pre-race, and he was kind of teasing Craig about getting like a random number generator, and depending on what the number was, maybe throw a random yellow in the mix there. So I'm sure right now he's thinking same. He's like, hey, how about that random yellow that I was talking about? This would be a great time to take advantage of it. So definitely a tough break for Eric. But honestly, this will be fun to see though as well for him is what he can do now. He's got a lot of clean air, and I think now he's just probably just going to wheel it, because I mean that's what we see Eric do anyway. So I think now it's even less reason not to be aggressive, if you will. So, but again, the one that's really made some great climbs is Daniel Durazo. He's trying to get top 5 away from Sam Cosner. Sam up 3 spots from where he qualified as well. And here you go, though. You can see he is trying to put all the pressure on. But again, though, the push to pass, though, Sam Cosner 183 seconds. Durazo 102 seconds. So very big differences on those guys. Drop a little bit back here. You got Matt Wagner. He has got Ryan Kelly all over his gearbox. Wagner's on the button. Forsyth's on the button. I think he's trying to break the draft of Matt Wagner, and that's why Matt's on the button too, is to try to stay in that draft window of the 99 car. So strategy is being played right now to try to see if you can work that track position. But I got to go back here because this is quite the fight. The 00, the 2, the 87, the 42, all right here together. Larry Yingling's just right there behind him as well. So great little battle with this group of cars here. Chris is going to try to follow Daniel through background Cosner as well, and he'll grab that spot up to 6th.
Stouffer has a healthy lead right now of 2.5 seconds. So that early pit stop seems to be paying off for now, but once those red tires kick in, it's going to be very, very interesting to see if the pace is still there, or if Craig, Matt, or even Ryan Kelly, for that matter, can manage to close that gap again. Because at the end of the day, you know that this is kind of a drafting track, and if you fall out of that draft, it's very hard to get it back. So I'm sure that Stouffer is very happy there's no one right behind that's able to kind of keep up with him, so he can run his own pace and dictate exactly how fast he wants to go and hold that lead.
And the other thing is he's starting to gain a little bit of the push-to-pass deficiency back as well, as he's still sitting at 135. Craig's now down to 179. So that's another thing that is going to be able to help a little bit too, where now Craig has a little less advantage. But I do have to say, though, Craig has closed that gap, though. It's down to about 1.75. We mentioned about the 3-second margin earlier. So he is starting to close that gap in. So a really good job by Craig staying consistent here. And I was talking to the drivers, and they'd mentioned tire temps are getting pretty toasty depending on how hard you push it. So that's going to be the other thing as well these drivers need to keep in mind, is how hard to push those tires. But I'm going to go back here because these two have been going at it here. Edson and Bill Burrell, they were pretty much side by side before the pit stops. They're right back together again. And then Gary Laverne, I got to say, I mean, again, he limped that car from the pits after flipping, and he was able to limp it back to pit road, get that fast repair. Now he's trying to work on that 21 car. He's going to get the spot because, as they say, that has the exact same thing that Peterson had happen, and that's going to be a pretty severe contact to the inside wall there. And so, unfortunately, that's going to be a tough one. So, commentator's curse strikes again here. Gary, I apologize, sir. We were talking about your good recovery, and then, of course, as soon as I say something, bad things happen. But at least the car didn't go through the air this time, Andrew.
Yeah, let's not discount the commentator's curse because it always seems to happen, especially when you focus on someone that's doing a really good job. So unfortunate there, but yeah, this battle between Durazo, Jabot, Sam Cosner, and even kind of Wayne Campbell's lingering back there. That's been the best battle on track right now, and who really knows what the strategy is here? Are they trying to save some tires? Are they trying to really get that advantage? If you keep in mind that I believe Yingling is the car that's catching him on the soft tire, so he's catching them a little bit from behind, but that advantage will quickly wear off once those tires start to go off.
And also, I saw right there, I'm going to go back, we'll take another look at it, but the other thing I'm noticing is that I think the softs might be starting to go away already, because look at Ryan Kelly. He was right up to those guys, and now he's already fallen to a couple seconds off of Matt Wagner, so may have already used the good off of those red tires that we had talked about. So that's going to be one of those things where he's taken his medicine. I think this might be the answer is short run versus long run on the reds. And so I think this is exactly what we just talked about. I'm also watching Durazo in the back there. We're not at Pocono or Indy, but we're still seeing the snake down the straightaway there leading into the carousel here. Again, just these guys trying to break the draft anywhere and everywhere they can. So let's say I haven't run through everybody yet. We got to still find some drivers we haven't had a chance to really chat about yet. We'll jump back one spot behind Larry Yingling. Hugo Galaz has had some really good results this season. He's up 3 spots into that top 10. And he has not yet touched that push to pass button yet here, Andrew. So he's going to have a lot to play with this second half of the race. Hopefully he has a button mapped, because that's the other thing is you got to have a button to use it. So hopefully in his case he's got one available to use and able to kind of capitalize on others here later on as the race goes on. Behind him, Nicholas Stockner, he is up 6 positions up into that top 11. And I think I saw him hop in the server pretty late. So honestly, for not getting a lot of practice time in, a really good job for him, kind of just methodically working his way up. And then Eric Schaus is starting to work his way a little by little further forward. Here's up into 12th. I believe he is starting. He's definitely been gaining ground on Stockner. He's about 8 seconds back as he's about to hit the carousel. So right now, and we'll go back up front though, because here you go. Gap is closed. Craig is back. So right now, I'm going to say long run pace 99 is looking good here.
You know, whenever you come to these road courses, you got some drivers that really feel like they can excel and maybe do a little bit better than they can on the oval tracks. So this is the time where some of these drivers may find that they could get the better finishes. So you have those kinds of drivers, and you have the drivers that say, hey, I'm just used to doing the oval racing, and I'm a little bit going into this race with a little damage limitation mindset. And we're quickly seeing who these drivers are that are able to show their face for this race, as we see almost go 3 wide to the carousel. Brian Kelly came very close to Daniel Durazo there, and Chris Chabot is there to also pick up the spot. So Kelly's kind of falling back a little bit, and he is on those soft tires, and they're definitely starting to go off now. Here comes Cosner, I believe, that is behind him, trying to take that advantage. So, wow, what a horrible end of the red tire stint here. So these guys are probably thinking about that as well, saying when it's my turn to take the red tire, I want to make sure I maximize it as best I can.
Yeah, I saw right there as well, Hugo getting around Larry, and so again, Larry on the red. So I think they've hit their cliff. And while you're watching that battle, say we saw Craig actually get around Stouffer now, but you can see in the background, though, Matt has been able to pull back into this group, though, so he's within about a half a second of Stouffer. And again, I mean, these laps are clicking by pretty quick, so probably next 3 to 4 laps, we're going to see second round of pit stops. And again, I think if you can stretch that fuel, I think at this point, you might want to save the reds till the very end. Although, I mean, what do you think here? If you're the top 3 here, if you haven't taken the alternates yet, do you take them this time around, or do you wait till the end of the race to put those reds on?
For me, I'm waiting till the very last second. I want to have the soft tires at the very last moment of the race when the track is the coldest, because that's going to preserve those tires as best they can. Ooh, that very, very close. Joseph Morales is trying to get out of everyone's way, and I think he bottled everyone up at turn 1 there and almost ended Wayne Campbell's race.
And that's a tough position to be in too, because road courses are a very different situation where sometimes it's better to just kind of run your line, let them get back around, or let them get around you. Because like I said, if you kind of do something different than they might expect you, it's one of those things where you both kind of go the same way and unfortunately find each other in the middle. So it's one of those things that you're being super respectful, which we know Joseph Morales is definitely one of the prime examples of the respectful drivers that we have in this series. But it's almost one of those things where sometimes it's almost a hindrance too. But here you go, though. Top three back to here, knows the gearbox pretty much. So we'll hop on top here. Matt Wagner, watch his view as he goes up the S's.
Looks like Stouffer took the lead back momentarily there. I almost wonder if he had some sort of VR issue a couple laps ago that allowed Forsyth to get by. The panels are changing on this track as we start to get later in the day here. The sun's starting to go down on the horizon, so that might be having an effect on some of these drivers as well, as we see that it's getting dark again on the track. So very interesting cloud cover situation happening here that's kind of throwing these drivers for a loop, as well as trying to figure out their fuel and tire strategy.
So we'll see. Does Stouffer come in this time around? If I believe that the numbers are the same, no, he's going to stay out. So they'll start lap 34 this time by, again, because we saw Stouffer coming to, I believe it was coming into 17, if I'm not no, he coming to 18, I think. So yeah, I have him as pay lap. Actually, I have 17. I apologize. Whereas Craig, everybody else was just the one lap later at 18. So it'll be curious to see if Stouffer, I would assume at this point, will still be one lap earlier. I do wonder, can Craig or Matt, can any of them stretch an extra lap out of this to almost then have a 2-lap advantage? Because like you said, if you want to run the Reds at the bare minimum, the more you can kind of expend now, run as long as you can. If you can let's say if you can give up 4 laps off the Reds, then that's going to be 4 laps that just that much better that you don't have to deal with them anymore.
Looks like it's just going to be a 3-horse race here, as we saw the drivers starting to pull away. So, yeah, that you really need the draft in order to have any sort of pace around here. And if you're not stuck with that lead pack, then it's going to be very, very difficult for you to get it back.
Yeah, now.
Stouffer, I think he might have missed his break point in turn 1 there, and I thought he was going to run right into the back of the Forsyth, but everyone keeps going.
Yeah, and well, you're mentioning there the breakaways, and yeah, so right now kind of the best of the rest is Daniel Durazo, and he's, like you said, about 6 seconds back off the lead. I think had he had a good qualifying lap, he's probably in the thick of this thing as well. Chris Chabot, he's doing a great job as well, just hanging onto the draft of Daniel there. And again, that's going to allow him to kind of hopefully try to pull a little bit more on Sam Cosner, who's sitting there in 6th. And then also mention the differences in push to pass. Daniel's down to 78 seconds remaining. Chris has 163 remaining. And there's our answer, though. Also, as I said, here comes Stouffer. He's on pit road, coming to 36. So I think this is actually pretty much on the same windows that he was before. Chris Chabot, same thing. He's right in there with him as well. So these two have been the first to pit. They continue to be the first to pit. And they're going to bring Ryan Kelly in as well. And I think for Ryan, this is one of those, I can maybe go one more lap, but I just got to get off these Reds.
I'm curious to see if Stouffer's going to put the Reds on now, or if he's going to wait till the very last stint to do it. So he goes up on the jacks, and let's see. I believe he has stayed with the primaries, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, primary tires.
Primary still on. So we'll jump back up front here. You see Craig is going to jump around the 21 and Bill Burrell. Matt's going to follow along. Actually, no, Bill's able to slot in between them. So Craig's got a little bit of breathing room. So now we see, can Craig go more than the 1 extra lap, or is it good? No, he's in this time. There's no question. Matt Wagner also in. So here comes their scheduled stops. And so, yeah, it's like right now I'm looking to see. And so this is the time Chris Chabot, he's taking the Reds for his second stop. Burrell and Morales have not pitted yet. They're still on the alternate Reds. So we'll keep an eye. But look at this, though. Look at Hugo here. He's got some great fuel mileage. He's going to go another lap. And so this is what we talked about. If he can go ahead and maybe try not to burn those tires up, go save the fuel, he can maybe try to run the least amount of time on those Reds. That could come into a very good spot for him later in this race. But here you go. Craig's taking his medicine now here, Andrew.
Craig Forsyth has put the red tires on. So let's see what kind of pace he has this stint, especially because he's running in that front pack. So you can imagine that he will probably get to the front very, very quickly. and then we'll have to see how long he can hold on to it before the black tires start to come back in. So Forsyth, first of the leaders, taking the red tires.
So yeah, now the question is, do you try to be really kind of and bring them in, or do you just try to use them right now and just run away? So I'll be interested to see how he treats this one. As you can see, the other problem I wouldn't say problem, but he's got to try to get around Shane Coker, as Shane, I believe, oh no, actually Shane's might be pitting this time. So he last pitted on 16, so might see Craig hang a left here. And this is one of those scary pit entries. And yeah, there you go. He's going to take it way wide, and that's actually going to give Stouffer a great run off that last turn. And so that's going to continue to keep our top three just within a second of each other, as Hugo's in pit road now with that number 57 car, waiting to see. And same thing, primaries for Hugo, so his next stop will need to be the alternate reds. And then, like I said, Stouffer, Wagner, same thing, but Craig's taking his medicine here on this third stint.
Interestingly enough, looks like Burrell took another pair of red tires, so maybe they're working for him, or he might just be kind of trying to do a little bit of a test session here, try and figure out what tire life he can get out of the tires that he chooses. But yeah, it's very difficult to try and pull away, especially with the big draft envelope here. So taking the red tires now may be the kiss of death for Forsyth, but I'm willing to see if maybe something works out for him later on in the run where he can actually start to pull away a little bit before losing that tire life, because once these other guys put the red tires on their last stint, they're going to be very difficult to reel in and then also stay in front of.
Yeah, and that's now the guys that I do want to watch is like a Ryan Kelly. He's taken his medicine with the Reds like we talked about, and so now he sits 7th. We talked about how far up he was prior to the Reds falling off, so I do want to see now, how does he compare to like a Chris Jabot? Can he get back up to Chris? And then again, in the final stint, he knows that he's going to have Sam Cosner, he's going to have Daniel Durazo. They're also going to have to be on the Reds. So that's where he's hoping that he's going to be able to capitalize on those moments on the end of this race here. I am looking over at Bill Burrell. I actually see him back on the primary, so it may have just updated. So I think Bill did switch off of those as well. And literally, we have two cars on the Reds right now. It's Craig Forsyth and 99, Chris Jabot in the 87. And I kind of like this approach, honestly, Andrew. I know we were talking about which would you take. I kind of think get the suffering done now, because then at the end of the race, you want to be able to push. You don't want to be kind of just holding on for dear life at the end of this thing. And we know that these guys coming up to the last lap or last pit stop of the race, they'll be able to kind of do the fuel numbers backwards. Craig will know exactly how early he can pit and go full rich to the end using those push to passes as well. So I'm thinking that Craig is in a really good spot here strategy wise. I think those Reds are going to be really painful for the last stint of the race.
Well, you have to also keep in mind that you don't want to do what all your competitors are doing, because then you'll never get the advantage. So Forsyth is taking the lead now. He has the red tire, finally gets out front, and I think if he has more grip, he should be able to pull away. But it's very interesting to see that the drivers on the black tire still can hang with the red tire runners, which is giving Craig probably a little bit of confidence for that last stint, saying, hey, when these guys are on the reds and I'm on the black tires, I will be able to stay with them and I will be able to have a better advantage come the end of the race. So I agree with you, actually, that I think that the red tire stint now, getting it out of the way and trying to see what it does for when you have to fight against it later, is a pretty good strategy.
And just to add to that point, last lap there, Daniel Durazo, he ran the fastest lap of a race, 55.37, and that's on the primary black tire. So there is still lots of pace in this tire. So, and like you said too, the track is going to start cooling off. We're about just after 4:30 p.m. track time. So like I said, the track's only going to cool off even more as the run goes on. So whether or not that makes a difference for the Reds at the end of this race, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, right now though, Stouffer and Craig kind of just trading the top spot here and there. Seems like once one gets the run, the other one will go ahead and jump by. And they're obviously teammates. They're not fighting each other too hard. So I'm going to jump a little further back though, Andrew, because we got Wayne Campbell here is in 10th. Eric Schaus working on that recovery drive. He's up to 11th. He's got to Wayne. He's got Larry Yingling right there in his sights as well. And so he's going to take a look, seeing if maybe he could get them to flinch. But no, nothing doing there. So he's going to try to build that momentum here on the exit. Use that slipstream up the S's. maybe try to pull something off here. And actually, he's going to jump to the inside through the SS side by side. And now he's going to have the draft. That's exactly what he was hoping for. As he clears, he gets the draft, and now he'll be able to try to set his sights on that 67. And as I said, he is also on the button. He wants to waste no time getting these positions.
I'm still trying to watch Forsyth here and watch how he's driving, and it looks like he's keeping up, and the tires are still kind of holding on for now. But all I can imagine is that Craig is saying to himself, man, if these red tires can hang with the black tires, then I'm looking pretty good for the end of this race. And Wagner is trying his best to get that spot from Forsyth. He's been looking the last couple laps. Looks like he might have a little bit of a run now as well. And those black tires tend to roll a little bit better with less friction and less contact with the track. You get a little bit more forward speed on the black tires than the red tires. So you can corner a little bit better, but it definitely seems like you can be faster down a straightaway when you're on the blacks, which is what Wagner is really trying to take advantage of right now.
Yes, I think Ryan Kelly. Oh yeah, Ryan Kelly caught a little too much curb. That sent him down around to the inside. I think just a big slide. We'll see if he's able. Yep, he's able to grab point in the right direction. Unfortunately, that's going to cost him some track position and time. As you can see, actually wasting no time to take advantage of that Eric Schaus. He's going to grab that spot, move up into the 8th position. So yeah, so Eric's just trying to do everything he can. Like I said, he is just getting everything he can, almost hot lapping it, I feel like, probably at this point. So he's trying to get everything he can back into this one. He's up into the 8th. As I say, he's obviously a race to pit. He's got about 4.5 seconds to Hugo now. And here you go, though. There's Matt looking on the inside of Craig. We'll see. He's able to send it in. And it looks like Craig is going to hold for the moment, but Matt's going to have a great run here out the carousel.
You were mentioning Daniel Durazo having not the best qualifying, but having great pace, and he was about 6.5, 7 seconds behind the top 3, and he's only 3.8 back right now. So he must have had either a very, very good pit stop cycle, or he's kind of sneakily making his way forward here, and might be a threat for the end of this race if he has yet another good pit stop here at the end, which could make this a 4-car battle. So let's keep an eye on that as well.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And I think it's just outright pace. I'm watching lap times right now, and last time by he ran a 55.98. Stouffer was a 56.18, so he was about 0.2 quicker than Stouffer. And the previous lap, he was also quicker. So you're exactly right. Durazo is making moves here, and it's one of those ones where, yeah, one of those might be ruined if maybe he made a mistake in qualifying, trying to get too much out of it. I know a lot of drivers talk about kind of getting that banker lap in just to have a decent spot, and then really try to go for it on the next one. So that'll be curious to see on him. He is at a deficit on the push to pass. He's down to 70 seconds. And then the other concern, of course, is the fact that he has not used those alternate reds. But like we talked about too right now, the only person in this group that is on him now is Craig. And I think they've just started to hit that cliff we talked about here, Andrew. And that's why I think this is actually a good thing for Craig, like we talked about, because I don't want to be hitting the cliff on the reds coming to, let's say, 5 or so to go in the race, because that's at that point you can't do anything to defend because your tires are just toast.
Well, also, if Craig is starting to lose some time, that's going to pull Durazo even closer to them once he starts to get that draft. And we could have like a top 2 and then P3 and P4 working together, and that might all come together as we were mentioning before at the end of the race. But I believe Durazo still has to run the red tires. So he really has to start making moves right now, or he's going to be stuck in a situation where he'll be fighting for his life at the end of the race.
I'm saying, speaking of making moves, let's say that go to our pole sitter, Matt Wagner. He's found his way to the front of the field here. So great job by Matt. Like I said, he's been working hard, and you're saying he's trying to get by Craig, and he's able to get Stouffer now. And I think now he's just trying to go. I think it's one of those things where he's going to try to see what he has. Can he break Stouffer? And I think this is also all him watching Craig and saying, hey, I know that Craig's going to have the better tire at the end. I need to try to base the same thing, try to break Craig and see. I need to build up the biggest gap I can off of him. You can see right now there's that snake we talked about at the Pocono and Indy. We're used to seeing it, but we're still seeing it down the straightaway here as well.
Well, also the straightaway, that long straightaway here at Watkins Glen is a little bit curved, or I'm trying to think of what the word is, where it's a little bit higher in the middle of the track, and it might be a little bit easier to run down the inside just for more speed. But yeah, there's definitely some snaking and some games being played around here.
And I mean, you
So
see right there, he's going for. You saw how wide he took that turn, and again, that's one of those turns. Like again, it'll give you an off track, but I think some of these guys are willing to go ahead and risk that at the moment to just try to get the lap times in. And it also might be one of those things where they're watching the mirror, they see Durazo coming, Craig's on the button too. So Craig is thinking the same thing. He's like, I gotta try to stay in the draft with these guys, so I gotta start burning the fuel now to try to stay with these guys, hold the draft at least as long as I can. But I think right now it's only a matter of time before Durazo gets them. But while these guys continue to fight, though, I'm loving what I'm seeing from Daniel, because again, he's gonna be in the exact same position as Stouffer and Wagner. He's got a great shot for a podium in this race. So again, hell of a job by Daniel. Again, one more pit stop to go, probably in the next, I would say, 7 or so laps most likely. I think earliest I say I want to pit 17 to go. If you can stretch it to maybe 18 or to 16 or 15 if you're going to the Reds. But if you're Craig, I think as soon as you know you're good on fuel, you jump in, you get the primaries on, and you set sail the rest of the way.
And also, when Craig does his last pit stop, going back onto the primary tire again, he's going to probably come out with a little bit of traffic where he could probably use a little bit of draft to get back close again. But we're watching Durazo. He's just closing more and more and more on the leaders. So I think he is definitely in the conversation for the end of this race, getting a podium.
Yeah, no, this is a really, really great run for him. Like I said, now again, I hopefully no commentators curse, because we've talked about. I feel like for Durazo, it's always been that he's had ridiculous pace. It just winds up not being able to capitalize at the end of the races. He gets caught up in an incident, not of his own doing, or just a racing deal, things like that. So as I say that, Craig, big push there off of that last turn. Durazo's going to take the inside line. They're going to go around. I believe that was No, it's not Lever. I'm sorry. That is Shane Coker. And so now Durazo is up to third. I guess silver lining here for Craig is at least he's got some draft up the hill here. That way he doesn't have to burn that push to pass.
And Craig is just counting these laps down, saying, get me in the pits right now. But as I mentioned before, I think this is definitely one of those possible race-winning strategies. If this works out for Craig, he did something a little bit different than the drivers around him, and it could pay off later as long as he has a really nice pit stop here to end the race.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. And I'm trying to think. Obviously we don't have any set numbers, but I would be very curious about how much time is gained or lost over the course of the primaries versus the alternates. Because again, we saw Ryan Kelly, we saw Larry Yingling, especially towards that last part of the tire stints, really, really dropped off there. And I think that's what's hitting Craig now as we're down to 20 to go. So again, if he can just live with these things for about 3 more laps, he should be in a great spot to then be able to come in here. And again, I almost wonder for Craig, does he try to even get in sooner than that? It really just depends on the fuel numbers. Like I said, I think for Craig, you got to be smart here. You don't want to pit too early where then you have to fuel save and kind of negate the benefits of the better tire at the end of the race. So it'll be a bit of a balance that he's going to have to fight. But Stouffer and Wagner, though, they're throwing punches at each other, just trying to see if they can break the other one.
So Durazo's now moved up into P3. He got by Craig, as you mentioned, and yeah, now he's going to really try and just log those lap times and make sure he gets in some sort of draft range to the 2 cars ahead of him, because he's going to want to maximize the grip on that red tire once he puts it on.
So here's Hugo. We talked about him. He ran the furthest of anybody that last stop, so he ran to lap 37. Others were 36, 35. So same thing. Hugo's going to have to go onto the reds. But again, he's going to have hopefully a little bit less time on the reds. And you see Chris Chabot, he's taking the pain right now as well in that 6th spot in the 87. As almost contact between the two of them there on the entry. Luckily able to avoid it, and that's going to bring Schaus right into the mix. Look at Eric now up into 7th. Going to try to grab 6th, and then he'll have his I7 Sam Cosner. But Sam's a fair bit ahead on the road. So, however, Schaus probably won't have too much issue with Chris. Again, he's on the very end of the life of those reds, and we've already seen what that does at the end of it. So should be able to see Schaus get by, but like I said, then that puts Chris in a great spot for the last section of the race.
I think we're looking at pit stop soon here, Gael. I think if you're doing your math right.
Oh, here's Craig now. So Craig's coming in a lap earlier than I expected. So I wonder though, does this still let him go map 1 to the end or not? Like that's my biggest concern is this too soon?
It's gonna be close. Yeah, it looks like he will have to. I mean, he does the math better than anyone, as we know. So I think it may be one less lap, but he may just find a way to just hang on to the back of these red drivers, especially once the tires start to go off and he knows he can do the better pace at the end of the race, and maybe worth it just to get off the tires sooner and save the fuel for later.
Yeah, so now we'll see, like I said, and this is where now I think Stouffer, Wagner, they need to run this thing as far as they can. If they can go more laps, they need to, but no, here you go, Stouffer is in. So Stouffer's going to have a long run, 17 laps on the Reds. Matt Wagner, I think this is big for Matt. Matt's going to be able to go one more lap. Durazo's going to go one more lap. Again, that's one less lap on the Reds. I think that is a huge opportunity. And we talk about the in lap and the out lap. Matt there coming out of turn 1 up the S's. He's on the button. He's going to try to get that big in lap. Going to try to steal the toe off of that 20 of Edson Santos to see what he can do and make it happen. So we'll have to keep an eye on that, as well as Sam Cosner also on the button, that 00. But let's watch Stouffer. Where is Craig? You see Craig coming off the last turn. And so obviously Stouffer's going to easily clear him because of the gap that he had built over the course of that run with the tire difference. So now that's the gap that Craig's going to have to try to make up over Stouffer. So that's going to be a big one to watch here. Now, can Matt go any further, or is he in? He's in this time. So Matt's going to try to run 16 laps on the red. Durazo's going to come on in with him. Also add Joseph Morales to the mix. So now the next car in line will be Cosner, and Cosner is also in. So then we jump over to Schaus. And yep, here comes Eric. Hugo should, I was going to say, Hugo should be able to keep going. And indeed he is. And I think Wayne Campbell, oh yeah, Wayne had a moment, I think, coming out of the last turn. Actually, it may have been on pit exit here. We'll pick up the speed here. We talked about the cold tires, and so we'll watch Wayne here as he builds up speed. And I think it's just going to, oh yeah, just got a little too greedy in the throttle, so he's going to loop it around. No, I think he just kept off the inside wall. But unfortunately, obviously, it'll be a drive-through penalty for an unsafe pit exit. So now we'll jump back up to Hugo. But I'm looking back to look at these two. Found each other once again here, Stouffer, Wagner, and they are nose to gearbox. Now they're side by side here as Ryan Kelly just put down a purple lap.
It's getting very interesting now, especially with this tire strategy playing out. So it looks like Wagner has done all he can to try and get that advantage, and he's got nobody in the draft behind him. And I mean, Durazo's just kind of hanging in there, but it looks like these drivers are. Yeah, I'm really curious to see how this all plays out, because it doesn't seem like there's a sure winner here yet.
No, it's going to be all about who can make those reds. If someone can find a way to whisper them through all the way to the end, that's going to be the way to go. But you're going to have, I think, a really good fight here between Ryan Kelly, Chris Chabot. They're on the same tire. Schaus is on the alternate red, so he's going to be really quick right now. But again, he'll probably be taking the hit a little bit later on in the run. So still, though, a great battle here from 6th, 7th, 8th, and saying there's Schaus. He's going to take advantage of the reds. Chris probably knows, hey, yeah, he's going to be quicker now. I'll have the pace later in the race. So we'll keep an eye on those two. Hugo Galaz, though, I love this from Hugo. This is really good fuel mileage from him. And this could wind up netting him a few extra spots just because of the limitations of how much he's burning those burning the reds. So he's going to hit pit road here, coming to 14 to go. So great job by Hugo. That's really good fuel mileage, Andrew.
That's incredible, honestly. And if he hasn't run the red tires yet, he's going to have the best advantage he possibly can and run them less than anyone. So I think he will find himself with a much better finish than he projected, as long as everything works out the way that he hopes and he thinks.
And here you go, Craig on the button there. He is down to about 105 seconds, still for 115 seconds. But I think right now Craig is trying to push to get onto the draft of Durazo. And last time by, I can tell you, it was a 56.09 for Stouffer, 55.78 for Wagner, 55.50 for Durazo, and then 55.63 for Forsyth. So Durazo the quickest of the top four, then Craig, then Matt, then Stouffer. So again, I think pace-wise, I think Durazo can still fight for a solid podium in this one. I think he just has the outright pace. And then, yeah, Craig is the big question mark. I said he's got the best tire, and we still got 13 to go. These guys' tires, we expect to fall off those latter, maybe about 5 laps to go or so.
Forsyth just has to really hang in there and just pace little by little, and he knows that if he could just run solid laps, he's going to catch these guys back up again and possibly go for the win of this race. So I'm looking at Hugo. I believe he came out, looks like still in the top 10, so still not a bad run for him. And he's going to be on the reds to finish, so he's going to have quite a few laps to have just a little bit more pace than the cars ahead. I'm not really sure if he can make the move if necessary, but still 9th place is definitely better than where he started, and if it works out for him, then he's going to have one of his better finishes on the season.
And I can confirm he does have a push-to-pass button because it just lit up green. So now Hugo can also be very greedy on that push-to-pass because he still has 190 seconds as he's again back on the button now. Chris Jabot's got 151 seconds that he can play with as well in the 87. And again, Chris is on the better tire, so I think he can try to see if at some point later on he should be able to get back after Schaus. As I say that, Schaus and Ryan Kelly, they're having a great battle as well. And here you go. There's Schaus. He's going to try to get to the inside. Oh, that's close between the two of them. And again, this is that, I think, for right now for Ryan, if you're just like, okay, let me take the hit now. I know I'm going to be faster, but I don't think he's thinking it. I think he's wanting to get right back by, and he has got a significant push-to-pass advantage. And Eric's going to protect here. Ryan is going to stay right on that gearbox. Now he jumps out after the draft as they're going to head through the carousel side by side.
I'm watching the Durazo Craig Forsyth battle, and last lap Edson Santos kind of got in the way a little bit and kind of held up Durazo a little bit, which allowed Forsyth to get a little bit of a run. So it's only a matter of time before Forsyth comes through here as these tires start to wear off on Durazo's car, and Forsyth has his best opportunity yet to pick up this position. Has a lot of speed coming up the hill through turn 2 and 3, and I think he's going to get this move done before the end of the straightaway.
Yeah, but he is on the button. He is taking no risks. He just wants to get by now. So he is going to clear Durazo. Can he respond with the draft? And it looks like answer is going to be no. Move Craig back up into 3rd, and he's only 1.3 behind that number 13 and the number 6 here. So we'll watch to see. Again, Craig still got a little bit of time to go here. Still a great fight by these three. You can see Shao still ahead, trying to work the draft on both of these guys behind him. Jabot's going to try to take a look on the inside, and they're going to hang it side by side still. Ryan Kelly's going to try to react. Oh, that was close between those two. Oh, almost a little bit of contact there as well. Now we're going to go 3 wide into the turn 6. Nope, back to 2.
Durazo has no answer for Craig, so move Craig up to the podium. Durazo's going to have to really fight with the 2 cars up ahead of Forsyth for the podium if he wants one tonight. Forsyth is just closing more and more and more and very, very quickly on these 2. And like I mentioned on the last stint, Forsyth saw what the black tires did, and he knew that he had the opportunity here. So he's going to have this race lead very, very fast.
Ryan Kelly caught the curb in turn 1 in that big fight with Jabot and Schaus. Unfortunately, he loops it around. He's going to have to get it turned back around, but no damage, just has to spin it around. But you are right, though. Craig is there. He's brought Durazo into the mix now as well. And we're not even down now. We're going to hit single digits here, 9 to go. If you're Craig right now, you've already caught these guys. You are feeling very good about where things are looking.
Trying to see if Forsyth has any overspeed catching up to these guys. Yeah, we have a nice 4-car battle here. We almost certainly know that Forsyth is going to have the better tires to take the lead. He might even take the lead at the end of the straightaway if he has enough speed going, as Wagner is not able to hold that straight line speed. Stouffer is on the inside. Forsyth's going to hang for a little bit. I think Wagner's just going to hang on, and there's contact!
Oh, Matt Wagner around. We'll go back and take another look at that one. Oh, that's... We'll have to see. Maybe, I mean, you kind of hope for net code in this case, but at the same time, you don't want either. But we'll take a look here as they hit the carousel here. And, yeah, unfortunately, contact between the 2 of them. We'll see. Let's see if I can get a better shot. And, oh, that's really bad net code.
That is the exact same contact that I saw between Nick Cohan and I can't remember which other car he had it, but on lap 1, it was the same exact corner, same exact amount of net code there. that ended Cohan's race. So, yeah, that's very, very unfortunate. And Matt Wagner is going to be so upset about this because he knew that he just had to hold on and keep it going. And he's had such bad luck here in these situations. So he is not going to be happy about this one bit.
No, that's a heartbreaker too, to run over 60 laps and be in the top 3 contention all race long, and then for something like that wasn't actually even any contact. And again, I mean, Matt and Stouffer, I mean, they race each other week in and week out. They know each other, and so there's going to be heat of the moment frustration, I'm sure, but at the same time, I'm guessing once he goes back and look, it'll be one of those like, come on, you got to be kidding me, to have contact when we're that far apart. So unfortunately, I say, because he knew at that point he had a guaranteed top 4 finish. The question mark was going to be 2nd or 3rd or 4th. And in all of this, while we went back and looked, Craig has gotten around those guys. Durazo's gotten around Stouffer. And so now it's going to be a fight between Stouffer and Durazo for who's going to get that runner-up spot, because, again, I'm looking at the push to passes. Craig's got a very nice 69 seconds remaining. Durazo 35 and 95 for Stouffer. So Stouffer's got the advantage over Durazo in front of him.
Yeah, I had to go back to look at that lap 3 incident. Actually, it was Cohan and Ryan Kelly. That exact same incident, exact same amount of contact for netcode there. So yes, very, very unfortunate for those guys, and yeah, I feel very bad for Wagner.
I want to go back here real quick, Andrew. It probably is netcode, but I'm going to watch off the back of... Actually, I think we can get a look off the last turn even. Let me get to there. This is the one I was looking for. Watch the 13 here. Look at Craig. He is 10 to... Oh, no, that's definitely a hit from him. I think that's a solid hit for both the 2 and the 13 there coming out the last turn.
Definitely looked like it.
Oh, yeah. Now look at the left front wing of Durazo. That wing is pushed up there on the right side. Or, sorry, left side.
Well, that just made things very interesting here, because these cars are very much ahead of P4, but I think they could just hang on and bring it home, especially with just 6 laps to go here. So, yeah, that's definite contact for both those drivers.
I definitely could... Oh, again, Durazo catching the outside ball. Again, though, now he needs to not be doing this. He needs to back it down, because he's got 10 seconds to Sam Cosner. We've talked about his bad luck at the end of these races. This is one that, unless it's really, in my opinion, unless it's self-imposed, he's got a podium in the bag. Not a knock on Sam Cosner, but he's got the margin. They're on the same tire. I think this is one of those ones where, okay, I could maybe get second if I keep pushing hard, or I can just hang on to third and finally get that podium that's really been, I feel like, eluding him. So that's kind of my mindset. And you do see Stouffer has gotten by, and again, I mean, that 2 car, he's not going to be turning very well with that front wing damage there. And Andrew, you could probably speak to it. So with an end plate there like that on the left side, is that going to affect just all turning, or is it maybe even worse than the lefts or the right-handers?
It's definitely going to be worse on one corner more than the other. The outside corner is obviously going to be the one that's affected as the air is trying to push down the wing. But let's not talk about the incidents themselves, Gael. Every time you hit the barrier, you're giving yourself a 2x or something, and there is that penalty incident limit that we were mentioning before as well. So not only is it a matter of keeping the car intact to finish the race, but if you keep banging the wall like that, you're going to keep racking up those points. And the last thing that Durazo or Stouffer needs is to wind up with a drive-through, especially if they've been going off track in those situations we were watching earlier in the race.
That's a really, really good point that I honestly, we talked about obviously that at the beginning, but you're right though. We don't know if anybody's racked up enough to potentially be in that position. And so I'm looking around right now. The field's all fairly spread out a little bit. Chris Jabot, he is in the 5th position. He's got about 2 seconds to Schaus behind him. And then Schaus has got about another 1.5 seconds to Hugo. And again, Hugo's got a 2-lap advantage over Schaus, 3-lap advantage over Yingling, who's back behind him about 7 seconds. So, and I mentioned Hugo being able to be aggressive on the push to passes. He had 200 after that last stop. He's already down to about 51 seconds there. So Hugo's been definitely very, very liberal with the buttons there. As you can see, again, these two, though, they're going to fight hard for this runner-up spot here. as Durazo's just trying to get Stouffer off of his game. But right now, Craig is, I mean, he's got a 3-second lead. He just needs to keep it clean and tidy to the end here. He's going to come around to 2 to go this next time around. And right now, this is by far the closest battle on track, though, is between these two right here, that 13 and the 2 of Stouffer and Durazo.
It's going to be a very, very close battle between them. But, I mean, they both have the podium right now as long as they keep holding on to it. But it's definitely been interesting to see these guys hang on to the red tires because I'm sure the understeer is intense right now. And we haven't really talked too much about the tools inside the car, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot of playing around with buttons to make sure that the car works just as they need to for the last few laps.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. And that's actually a question I was talking to some of the drivers pre-race. Because again, I'm very familiar in the oval side. You got the ARB front and rear, you got the weight jacker, and so I mentioned to Craig, it's like, hey, so do you mess with the weight jacker at all in these? And he said, actually, on the road courses, you lose the weight jacker in place of the push to pass, so there actually is no weight jacker adjustments to do a quick adjust to maybe move ballast forward or backwards. It's all about just basically the front and rear ARBs if you want to mess with those, but up front, though, Craig's going to take the white flag here at Watkins Glen. He's got plenty of cleared, well, actually not so much clear track in front of him. He's got a couple cars there, the 33 and the 32 and the 34, just for good measure. Ahead of him, his anger to good use as he just ran the fastest lap of the race there, 55.09. So, again, just I think pretty much everybody's feeling for Matt on that one because, again, just nothing he did wrong, and to go from battling for the top 3 to down to 17th after that's definitely a tough pill to swallow. So, Matt, I'm sorry, but it was a really, really great fight you were having there. And then looking a little further back, Stouffer still able to hang on to Durazo by about that half-second margin. But there's going to be no question here as they come out of that last turn, turn 7. Craig Forsyth going to get the win here tonight at Watkins Glen. Going to stretch that points lead a little more as well. Then behind him, though, it's going to be Stouffer bringing home second. Durazo finally getting that podium. That those good finishes at the end have been eluding him. And then we'll go back to 4th position, Sap Cosner. He's going to bring it out there. A great 4th place for him, up 4 spots from his starting position. Chris Chabot going to grab a top 5 as well, up into that 6 spots up. And Eric Schaus, I mean, think about the night he's had to bring that thing all the way back up into 6th place. So I don't know if anybody probably drove harder than him tonight.
Yeah, it looks like he finished 24 seconds back from the lead, and that's probably about what the time is to do that drive-through. So he would have been right in that mix at the end as well, just based on whatever fuel strategy he might or tire strategy he might have employed there. But yeah, unfortunate for Eric, he just missed out there. But really great recovery, and Hugo, look at him there in P7 with that long strategy that he employed as well.
Yeah, no, a great drive, like you said, from Hugo. I'm curious if this is Craig just kind of cruising or if this is a Craig that burned every little bit of fuel there at the very end. He did make sure he used all of his push to pass. He is down to 0. Stouffer left 26 seconds on the table. Durazo used all of his up as well. And so, yeah, say pretty much I see a lot of zeros there at the end, but I think Craig may be out of that fuel there in his number 99 machine. So what we will do, though, here, Andrew, is we got to find some fellas. And I think I already see Durazo. Yep, he is hiding up top, so we'll start to bring him over. We'll come back a little bit to be able to kind of show the battles that he and Stouffer were having there. All right, so we're going to bring Daniel Durazo over here, Craig. And Daniel, I mean, we'll have to start with qualifying. I feel like was it just qualifying didn't go well, or did you opt not to qualify, or because I mean you had your work cut out for you just from the get-go here tonight?
To be honest with you, I didn't really have any practice, so the qualifying was my practice. I couldn't figure it out. I was so slow. I was like, what is going on? I looked at the leaderboard. I'm starting 14th, getting the track. I'm 17th. I'm like, all right. Just went on from there, I guess, figuring it out as the race went on.
Yeah, Daniel, how did you select your tire strategy for tonight? Did you want to save the alternate tires to the end and maybe have a run to the finish, or did you maybe consider doing a different sort of tire strategy as the race went on, and then just kind of locked into whatever happened at the end there?
Well, I didn't really like how the reds felt at all. So I just started off with the blacks. I assumed, the top three guys were gonna be all black, black, black the whole time until the end, but Forsyth had a he thought about it, I guess. So yeah, he got me there for sure.
And so I say I don't know if it took the road course or not, but say unfortunately, or say unfortunately, I should say, something that we've been noting is the pace that you've had all season long has been incredible, but it's just been the luck at the very closing stages of this race. It just seems like that's been what's always been haunting you. So is this one of those deals now where you maybe feel like you do have a bit of like a weight off your shoulders, where you're able to like, okay, I I gained 12 positions first off tonight, got all the way up to the lead pack there and able to grab the podium. Like, is that one of those things that, are you happy with that, or is it one of those things where it's like, I know I had more in the tank?
Well, I really didn't know what I had coming into this. But I wouldn't say I'm disappointed, and I wouldn't say I have a weight off my shoulders, because after this, I knew it was going to happen eventually. Like you mentioned the pace, and I don't really get too mad about losing out on stuff like that. It's just a part of the learning. I'm not that experienced at this yet, but the road course definitely helped, because then it was just all skill. A little bit less of what your luck comes out to, unless you get into an incident.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great race. I mean, like I said, I mean, we were watching you drive through the field. It was really, really impressive to see what you did there to get up there. And like I said, fighting with Craig and Stouffer and Matt and everybody. It was a really, really great run, man. So definitely want to tip our hats to you. Again, a great, great drive. But before we let you go, though, always got to give you the floor here. Any thanks and shouts for that podium this evening?
Yeah, this podium was a lot of fun. This race was awesome. For no practice. I mean, I'm not a big fan of this track at all, but it serves me well. I won the Watkins Glen here, and all that. I got to give it some respect. I'd like to shout out my team, Track Rocket, and our sponsor, Mahatma Rice. I'd like to shout out Matt Wagner, my teammate, for giving me some advice throughout the race. And yeah, I mean, everybody raced me pretty nice today, and shout out to the field.
It was a great job tonight, Daniel. Like I said, on my side, I hope that the monkey's off your shoulders, because I think, like I said, I think you've got more podiums and then some coming your way, like I said, with the pace that we've seen week in, week out. So go enjoy this one and look forward to seeing you at Trek again here soon, sir.
All right, thanks, guys. Have a nice one.
All right, Andrew, we got to jump one spot further up. And these are those tricky ones because obviously it's a great result, but obviously probably not how he was hoping for that result to come. So gonna grab Andrew. We're gonna grab your buddy Andrew. Grab Christopher on in. Started in third, finishes in second, and you were pretty much in a dogfight all race long with Craig, with Matt, with Schaus for a while there before he had that penalty. I feel like there was probably no relaxing tonight behind the wheel for you, Chris.
No, it was a pretty intense race. It's akin to an oval race, honestly, the way it went, and um, it was a lot of fun. I'll tell you that. I do want to say right off the bat, I mean, with what happened between me and Matt, I know there's net code involved there. It still sucks because you never like taking a buddy out, net code or not. At that point, I was just trying to block the road for Craig so he didn't have an easy way through. Um, and I think Matt would understand that and, be fully like, yeah, block the dang road, but um, that was just one of those. I mean, there's nothing, neither one of us did wrong there. Um, but Craig had the right idea. I saw him come out on those reds with the second to last stint, and I was like, oh man, he's going to come out on blacks and he's just going to blow by us, and he eventually did.
Well, that leads me into a good question for you, Chris. Are you happy with how your tire strategy went, or do you think that maybe if you had done a red stint in the third stint there, that you might have had a little bit more success and been able to fend off Craig at the end, or maybe even get by him, because I'm sure like you said, you probably said, oh man, like he's on just a whole different strategy there. And he obviously did something different from the rest of everyone, because he felt like he probably had to do that to have some advantage at the end. Was there any chance that the blacks could outrun the reds early on, and let the reds die off and the blacks still be ahead? Or what was your thought about how your tire strategy went tonight?
Well, after about 8 laps, the reds really started falling off real quick, and I was thinking of putting reds on that second to last stop, but I didn't want to kind of get caught out there being, the lone man out. But it really worked out for Craig because we're all still bunched up, so he could just kind of, you know, he could keep up with us in the draft for what he was losing in the turns, having the reds on. And so again, I mean, it was the right strategy call. It did cross my mind, but I played it safe. Um, and end up coming home second. So I can't be too upset. I know I led a bunch of laps tonight. It was a lot of fun. It's a woulda, coulda, shoulda at this point.
Yeah, that Craig's a sneaky fella, but yeah, and you're right though. I mean, obviously led the most laps, and so I mean, a couple bonus points there, and still a long ways to go, obviously in the season. So I don't think we're quite halfway, if I'm not mistaken. So I think the next race will be the halfway point. So a lot of time to go, obviously, in all of this. And you jumped up with that 2 spots up into 4th in points, and that's before any drop weeks as well. So, and I'm looking and saying there is a one race you've missed. So I think once the drop weeks kick in, that's going to bump you up a fair bit as well. So it'll be fun to see what you have in store for these guys the second half of the season, though, Chris. But before we let you go, as always, got to give you the floor. Any thanks and shout outs for that runner up tonight?
Well, first I will say thanks for the update on the points, but I will not look at the points because every time that I look at the points when I'm in a championship battle, my season goes to crap. So I'm not looking at the points. I'm just coming out here and I'm running each race as it comes, and we'll see how it all plays out. But other than that, of course, 4D Racewear, for sponsoring me, go to 4dracewear.com for boots, gloves, different accessories. We got a Sim Racing Expo or Sim Gaming Expo coming up here next month. That should be a lot of fun. I qualified in the top 75 for the next round of challenge that they're having there. So that we'll see what I can do with that. And again, thank you guys up here in the booth for broadcasting. I'm sure this was a fun race. It's very unique to see these cars run at this configuration, especially. It was a lot of fun. So hats off to Craig, even though he did win. I told him you're not allowed to win in your own league, but he keeps winning. So I don't know what to do about that.
He's pretty greedy like that. And I was saying also, obviously we missed Jim tonight, but I say it sounds like we got some new website coming up shortly for the 4D Racer. So I'm really excited to see that, as well as I know that 4D is going to have a booth over at that expo too. So I'm really excited to see what Jim's got up in store for everything there. Because like I said,
Yeah.
he's been awesome with the league, and I say I'm waiting to see what the new products are, because I actually am kind of itching to get some new things to play with, but when I get to race. So I'll definitely be hitting him up here soon, I think.
Well, yeah, if you're at the expo, come check us out. We will be there. 4D Racewear will have a booth. I'll be there with Jim Saturday and Sunday. So, yeah, come check us out.
Sounds good, sir. Great job again, Chris. Like I said, we'll tell that Craig to stop winning in his own league. But yeah, he's been on a tear so far this season. But don't look at points. Just keep going for those podiums and wins, man.
Thanks.
All right, so that leaves us one fellow left to chat with here, Andrew, and that is going to be our race winner in that number 99, Craig Forsyth. And Craig, I think you pulled a little snooker move on those fellows, because they thought everybody was going to go reds at the end, and you went ahead and said, I'm going to save those, and I'm going to take the primaries at the very end of the race. And it was something Andrew and I kind of talked about during, was when do you take the Reds? Is it worth maybe doing exactly what you did in order to have the better tire at the end of the race? So was that the game plan from the get-go? Was it something that you kind of were watching as the race unfolded? Kind of what led you to that decision to make the final stop on the primaries to basically make that was to me was kind of the winning decision there on the tire strategy?
Yeah, we all basically before the race, as you said, we were all going to try and run the primaries as long as possible, extend our stints as much as possible to make the run at the end on the alternates be as short as we could, because the alternates only lasted about 8 laps, and every lap after that was just painful, like over a second slower, if not more. So that was the initial thought on it, but once I lost the lead and Matt was fast, Chris was fast, and Daniel was keeping up with like the little group there. I was like, well, I need to do something different, or it's just gonna be this battle right to the end. So I think it was about 2 or 3 laps before the pit cycle started that it was like I started toying with it. It was like I think I'm going to switch. And so then when Chris went in, because I knew he was going to pit, he had to pit 1 lap before me. I watched what he changed onto. He stayed on the primaries. At that point, I committed to it. I went through my black boxes and switched it over to the alternates. And it was like it was roll the dice, because otherwise it was it was just going to be the same battle right to the end. I figured this was my best chance to do something different and make it and give us the much better tires at the end. All it required was me to be able to keep up with the guys while I was on the Reds. And you saw, I was like, for the first 10 or 11 laps or so, I was able to keep up more or less with them. And then I just started falling off. So I got lucky that, I was able to push those extra couple laps to basically extend the life of the Reds. So it minimized the amount of damage that being on them early did.
Yeah, so we know you as the fuel saver in this league, Craig. Did you find that you could have gone a little bit longer on those black stints to maybe minimize the amount of time you had on the Reds, or did you feel like you had to run them longer than you wanted, or was it a matter of just pitting earlier for the last stint on those black tires and then doing a little bit of a fuel save, knowing that you'd eventually catch them in the end no matter what?
I really wanted to try and push it 19 or even 20 laps if that was going to be possible. I was just struggling to keep up, so that wasn't going to happen. Everyone's really fast. So I think on the first one I was able to get 18 laps even with the pace lap. But then on the second stint, that was because I had to push harder. That was also only an 18 stint lap. At which point it was out the window. You weren't going to be able to go 19 or 20. Didn't really matter much anymore. At that point, it was switch to the Reds and just make sure I sat behind those guys to have them pull me along.
Yeah. So, well, you have a formal team protest. Stouffer says that the league admins shouldn't be winning these races. And I believe I heard you say pre-race that you're pretty sure your run of good luck at this track was going to run out as well. So, it seems that you've been breaking all the rules on this one, Craig. Were there any thoughts of the wet tire there? Because I know you and Peterson were chatting pre-race. Was the red tire bad enough to go to the wet tire? I'm obviously being sarcastic.
I desperately this week I really tried to set it. I wanted to try a wet session, like a wet race, or a race that started slightly wet, slightly damp, or towards the end had a chance of getting slightly damp. And it was just it makes the car too difficult to drive. We, as Area 51, we're an oval series. Making the road courses, the one or two road courses we do a year any more difficult than they need to be is as much as it's fun as an idea, as a application is. Let's not frustrate everyone more than more than turning right already does.
Well, we got some off weeks, I think, so maybe we do a fun rain race. I think that'd be a fun one to do. I would definitely hop on board if you get one of those under play. But Craig, I mean, it's been a ridiculous season for you so far. The top 5 streak continues, so you're 6 for 6 on that, and obviously 2 wins in the season now, and obviously no drop weeks yet. But you've also been able to kind of extend that points lead over Edson a little bit further. But I mean, obviously, you being a realist, like you know at some point the tide's going to turn a little bit. But I mean, is there anything like? Is this one of those like, man, this is the best I've started a season kind of a thing, or are you trying not even to look behind and just only focused forward?
Why do you have to point it out?
It's my job.
Very aware. Yeah, it's there because I'm usually that's the biggest thing is I can never string together a consistent season. I have ups and downs, and the few times I've won the championship, it's been by the skin of my teeth and through a bunch of face plants of my own doing. So this has been a good start to the season, that's for sure. So I'm hoping it keeps up, and more importantly, I'm hoping we keep the car counts up. I mean, we had 20 drivers out here tonight at our one road course for the season, so I'm ecstatic at that. I mean, we even had a couple guys who wanted to be here very badly, and real life got in the way. So we could have had 24 drivers easily, which would have been just amazing. It's been a really good season so far this year, just on driver counts for Area 51, and I mean for the product that we're putting on. I hope everyone's been enjoying it.
No, you guys have been doing an awesome job. It's been a lot of fun. Like you said, to get those numbers for road courses is really good because, usually you get like half the numbers at this point for something like that. So I can tell you, I'm sure in 2 weeks' time, I would hope everybody's going to for sure pop out because it'll be Auto Club. That's probably one of my favorite tracks here. Let's say Auto Club, Michigan, Pocono, Indy, like those are the ones. I think I've even told you, it's like those are my only requirements when you do a schedule. It's like those got to be on there. So a great job tonight, Craig. Like I said, looking forward to seeing more of you over the course of the rest of the season. But before we let you go, of course, got to give you the floor. Any thanks and shout outs for that win tonight, sir?
Well, I got to thank all of the 4D Racewear crew. And Jim wasn't able to be here tonight. He's the new 4D Racewear site, I guess, is launching today or tomorrow. So he's hard at work on that, getting it all up and making sure everything works on that. That's all in prep for the upcoming Sim Racing Expo. That's for anyone that's in the area there. I'm sure you guys have been touting it lots. So by all means, if you're in the area, go book a ticket, go see it. A bunch of the 4D Racewear guys will be there. A bunch of the IndyCar community will be there. The iRacing IndyCar community will be there. It's there's a lot of us heading out there. Unfortunately, I am not, as I'm up in Canada. But come to that, and everyone on the team, that all the 4D Racewear guys, Chris and I we're going back and forth, and you saw how hard we were battling each other in the first couple stints there. It's like, we hard, tight, and fast. It was unfortunate with the netcode contact between him and Matt that really put a damper on things. And I think Nicholas also had, as I was going back through it, Nicholas had the same netcode thing, which is unfortunate. I mean, because Chris and I were battling just as tight as that, and we all got away with it. It's just the pure luck of netcode is unfortunate sometimes. So I think that'll be the only damper on it. Otherwise, I think was an excellent race. I hope everyone really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think from Andrew and I's side, I mean, I think we really loved all the strategy with the push to passes, the who was on what tire strategies and everything. I thought it was a lot of fun tonight. But yeah, again, great job tonight, Craig. And yeah, I mean, I'll say you've been doing really well. I'll try not to commentators curse the season. But yeah, looking forward to having more chats with you, man, over the course of the season.
You betcha, guys. All right, Andrew, Kyle, you guys have a good rest of your night. Everyone watch. Stay safe.
Thank you.
All right, Andrew, that is our race winner in the number 99 of Craig Forsyth. And yeah, I mean, the call there at the end, I mean, that was the winning move, was to get off the primaries, take the medicine with those reds, and then go from there to the end. So really smart call for Craig, and yeah, that made the difference tonight.
Yeah, it was almost a surefire win for Craig once you saw how that tire strategy played out, especially because he did get that little bit of a gap, but the black tires were able to stay with the red tires in that third stint there. So it was almost kind of writing on the wall, seeing that once the strategy flips in that last stint, that Craig was going to be able to make that advantage happen, especially once those guys on the red tires started to wear out a little bit, and it was almost kind of like you saw like the slow train wreck happening where Craig was faster than the cars ahead. The cars ahead are battling, and you're like, oh, it's only a matter of time before he gets that advantage. So, great strategy from him. That's something that I'm going to put in the back of my head for a future race like this, where I know that draft plays into effect and hey, if I can pull out a win like that too, that's something I'm going to remember for the future. So it was fun to watch, and I'm glad that, like Craig said, they had a really nice car count here tonight, especially with guys that wanted to be here but unfortunately couldn't make it for personal reasons. So, yeah, it was very nice to see, and I think we have a lot of momentum going for the rest of the season.
Yeah, no, and yeah, exactly right. I think it was a great car count, and I exactly agree with Craig. Was the product tonight was a great race. The strategies, just the outright fights we were having. Just unfortunately that contact with Matt, like you said, it definitely put a damper on everything, and just unfortunate. I said it was nobody making a really bad move. It was hard tight racing. Just unfortunately when you race online, there's connection. Sometimes it's not perfect, and it'll think your car is a couple feet away from where it actually is, and unfortunately Matt was on the wrong side of that tonight. So again, that's a really tough one for Matt, and I definitely hate that one for him. But we do have to run through the final results though here as well, Andrew. So Craig getting the win by 3.8 seconds over Stouffer, just able to hold off Durazo there by just under a second. And then in that fourth spot, Sam Cosner, a great run for him tonight, able to grab fourth, about 5 seconds over Chris Jabot. There, fifth, Eric Schaus. Again, just the recovery drive he was able to do to get all the way up to sixth. A great run by him. We mentioned Hugo Galaz, the great fuel saving for him all the way up into seventh. And then Larry Yingling, Ryan Kelly. Larry gets the win over Ryan there at the end. And again, Ryan had those couple spins, unfortunately, that I think dropped him probably out of that top 5 or so window, unfortunately. So not the way Ryan wanted to finish, but still we saw the pace out of that car in the 33. Edson Santos, again, he had damage really early, but was able to kind of work through it and then still able to bring home a top 10 there. First car one down. And then we also talked about some of those drivers just having some hiccups and things to able to still recover fairly well, with Wayne Campbell there in the 42 in 11th, Bill Burrell 12th, Gary Laverne in 13th, Joseph Morales there 14th. Eric Peterson, we saw his wreck in the toe, still wound up able to bring it home 15th, only 2 down, which honestly is very impressive for having to take a tow. And then Shane Coker there in 16th. Matt Wagner, obviously we saw what happened there, unfortunately for Matt, in 17th. And then you can see Nicholas Stockner, I believe, a couple early retirements there in the 124 car. And then same for Nick Cohen and Frank Irwin Jr., unfortunately, finishing 19th and 20th. However, Andrew, that'll do it for us this evening. Again, really want to thank you all for watching, supporting us here on Green White Checker TV. Say, Rachel, it's great having you on. Also, of course, like I said, Jim, definitely hate that you weren't here tonight, but I definitely hope you guys have a great time at the Expo. I'm really excited to see the new website and the products, and again, really appreciate all the support and just all the awesome stuff you guys do over there at 4D Racer. So looking forward to getting to see all of that. And yeah, I'll say until next time, we'll have a week off next week, but then we'll be back again at Auto Club, like I mentioned. So as always, until next time, take care, stay safe, have a good night.